Assalamu'alaikum Warahmatullahi Wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Syifa Azzahra from Class E. Now I would like to share what I have learned in the Introduction to TEYL course about the characteristics of young learners and how they learn. According to Slattery and Willis, there are two groups of young learners. The first is very young learners and the second is young learners. Very young learners are the students under 7 years old, and young learners are the students who are 7 until 12 years old. It implies that young learners are classified by their age. So, what are the characteristics of young learners and how to deal with it? The first characteristic is energetic and physically active. Teachers need to consider how to harness the dynamic energy of young learners and use it toward effective learning. Therefore, teachers should utilize children's natural tendency to be physically active and not get frustrated with the fact that young children cannot sit still for long periods of time. Teachers might incorporate kinesthetic activities that encourage young learners to get up and move around. For example, teachers can use the total physical response or TPR method like Simon Says game. The second characteristic is spontaneous and not afraid to speak out or participate. Young learners are not very inhibited. Older learners can be more self-conscious and concerned with how people judge them. Young learners are much more willing to participate in activities and speak out in English without feeling embarrassed. They are good imitators of language, in part because they are not afraid to repeat after the teacher or sing along to fun songs, even if their use of the language isn't exactly right or even if they don't understand every word. Teachers can use simple songs, rhymes, chants, and dialogues with kids because they are ready to follow along, or drama activities like meet and greet. The third characteristic is curious and receptive to new ideas. Young learners have a natural curiosity. The world is a new place for them, and they want to know more about it. Teachers should prepare activities that arouse students' curiosity. For example, teachers can invite learners to explore different shapes with a fruit's theme. Use mystery box game, where the objects or fruits are in a box and they touch them and try to guess what they are. The fourth characteristic is imaginative and enjoy make-believe. Young learners love activities that encourage them to use their imagination. Using role plays and drama games allows them to play make-believe and pretend they are someone or something else. For example, children can learn new vocabulary about animals and have fun pretending to be a cat or a lion, making the movements with their bodies and sounds with their voices. The fifth characteristic is easily distracted and have short attention spans. Young learners are known for being easily distracted. Although children have short attention spans, they can concentrate on longer activities if they are fun and interesting to them. Teachers should try to engage children with fun activities that arouse their curiosity and imagination, as the previous characteristics suggested. Teachers need to capture their attention with brightly colored pictures or photos, different kinds of audiovisual aids such as songs, movie clips, videos, etc. Lessons should be planned as series of short activities. If they are too focused on writing activity, they can make a brain break with a TPR activity like handshakes. The sixth characteristic is egocentric and relate new ideas to themselves. Young learners are egocentric, centered on themselves and their immediate surroundings. They have difficulty perceiving things from other person's perspective. Teachers need to provide opportunities for young learners to personalize what they are learning. This means to connect new information and language to themselves. For example, when teaching children about adjectives to describe people, they will enjoy writing an acrostic named poem about themselves. For example, Z for zest, A for active, R for reach, and A for ace. The seventh characteristic is social and are learning to relate to others. Young learners are very social and like to talk to each other. They are learning how to relate to others as part of their socialization process to their culture. They love to play games with each other and can cooperate to do activities. So, teachers should incorporate group games, range setting, and grouping. So, this is an example of the implementation of Simon Says game. When teacher says, Simon says, raise your hand, then learners follow the teacher's instruction. And this is an example of the implementation of mystery box game. The learners touch it and try to guess what it is. Next, how they learn. Children learn by doing and interacting with their environment. Vieze emphasized that children are active learners and thinkers. Children construct knowledge from interacting with physical environment in developmental stages. As young learners reach the concrete operational stage, they are able to think more logically but are still grounded in concrete objects and what is happening now and here. It is not until adolescence or over 12 years old that children start to exhibit intelligence through their understanding of abstract concepts. According to Vieze, children learn through their own individual actions and exploration, creating opportunities for children to learn by doing and to learn by interacting with their environment is extremely important to young learner classroom. Teachers can bring a realia for learners to interact with. For example, if the lesson is about different fruits, the teachers can bring in those fruits for students to taste. In addition, children need support and scaffolding by the teacher. Vygotsky found that children construct knowledge through other people, more specifically through interaction with adults or more competent peers. Adults work actively with children in the zone of proximal development or ZPD, which by definition is the difference between the child's capacity to solve problems on her or his own and her or his capacity to solve them with assistance or scaffolding. Vygotsky and Brunner stated that the adult's role is very important in a child's learning process. In the classroom, younger learner, the more important the teacher's role in scaffolding the learning process. Like Vygotsky, Brunner focused on the importance of language in a child's cognitive development. Brunner carefully studied how parents provide effective scaffolding. Working with a child individually is different from being a teacher with a class full of young learners. However, teachers can apply these scaffolding principles to devise an effective approach for teaching young learners. So these are suggestions for English young learners teachers using scaffolding techniques. The first is teachers made the learners interested in a task. The second is teachers simplified the task, often breaking it down into smaller steps. The third is teachers keep the learners on track toward completing the task by reminding the learners what the goal was. Teachers point out what was important to do or showed the learners others' way of doing parts of the task. And teachers demonstrated an idealized version of the task. The last teacher controlled the learners' frustration during the task. So, how children and adults learn? These are differences in how children learn and adults learn. Children learn by rely on others to decide what is important to be learned. Accept the information being presented at face value. Expect what they are learning to be useful in the future. Have little or no experience upon which to draw. Little ability to serve as a knowledgeable resource. While adults learn by decide for themselves what is important to be learned, need to validate the information based on experiences, expect what they are learning to be immediately useful, have much past experience upon which to draw, and significant ability to serve as a knowledgeable resource. In addition, children learn by encourage convergent thinking, use specific concrete thought, rote learning, subject-centered, motivated by external and reward or punishment, while the adults learn by encourages divergent thinking, use generalized abstract thought, active learning, task or problem-centered, motivated by internal and incentives or curiosity. Okay, I think that's all from me. Hopefully, it can be useful for all of us. I would like to apologize if there are mistakes. Thank you very much for your attention. Wassalamu'alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.